bun is a nickname that I can't shake from eating piles of honey buns back in high school. My parents, they call me Scott. In a handful of weeks, I'm gonna be 50 years old. It's kind of weird. I got on the internet because I stopped playing shows back in 2018 to focus on YouTube because that unexpectedly started working better than playing shows. For the longest time, 25 years or so, the bun did what most music people do. I fell in and out of a pile of bands, about one band a year. Did a ton of shows, tours, releases. Some of those did okay, but most of them broke up within a year. It was about 5 or 6 years ago that I decided to do it all myself. Less people, less waiting, more go. In that time, I've launched 3 self-produced projects: Foreigns, Wetlands, and Vens. All of these are based around baritone guitars, probably why I'm the baritone guy. I never anticipated becoming the baritone guy. That was a huge surprise. It just sort of took off and took over. It's funny to me because there's not much to say about baritones. They are longer scale guitars for tuning lower, sort of like a bass is longer for tuning lower. Even though music was always the point of it all, I was actually pretty surprised to see a growing interest in the music. I always use the music from one of my 3 projects in all of the baritone videos. It's been a little bit of a wake-up call, like the universe is screaming to take it more seriously. The question is, at 50 years old, can we start a new music career? And even more pressing, can we do it solo? I've done music all my life, but I've never tried to make a go of it on my own. It's probably the case for many of us. We've been waiting for the band to get it together, for all the right opportunities, for all the right gear, but really, we just never took the reins.
My outlook at 50 is that you're never ready, and the only way to get ready is to do the thing you want to get ready for.
Having been swept away with talking about baritones for the last 6 years, I've arrived at this question.
Baritone, baritone, baritone. Baritone, baritone, baritone.
What are you doing with the baritones? I'm super curious. If we spent 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, how much could we create? How many tracks could we write? How many people could we connect with? Most of us are immediately going to start thinking about all the difficult things. Music can be really tough to make a living in. How do we make enough money to live decently? How does an average player make music that others will enjoy, let alone turn into a later in life career? The current music business climate is complicated. We're going to have to get really smart there. The only thing is I'm Aspergers and I have mirror movement.
I'm high functioning Aspergers or autistic, whatever you want to call it, depends where you are in the world. But it makes it more difficult to connect with people because Asperger's people don't really read people the same way as everybody else, neurotypical people. Difficult to reach out, difficult to connect, difficult to communicate, all those sorts of things. So it's a little layer of, an extra challenge. Something, you can get over. I'm lucky to be sort of high functioning, high on the spectrum. So the mirror movement, my hands do the same thing. Because I've been playing music for so long, I have quite a bit of control over them, but not as much control as a regular person. I'm gonna move one hand, gonna move this hand, and this chord in this hand. Check out what's happening. And then same thing on this hand, look at this chord. Also, if I do sort of up near my elbow, the chords up the arm, if I move one hand, you can see the chords are moving in that other hand. And, or in that other arm, they're moving up here. So that's mirror movement. So that's congenital mirrored movement disorder. I think that's what it's officially called. I just call it mirror movement. I've had it since I was born. It's a genetic thing. A bunch of people in my family have it, and a bunch of those people who have it are good musicians. So you can push past it. It's just another layer of complications, and it kind of forces you to play differently, which isn't a bad thing.
Then there's the niche problem. Are there enough people interested in artsy sludge and grind to make it all work? Lastly, I have no budget. I have no budget, no funding. Historically, for myself, this has always been the best time to do something a little bit risky. We have way less to lose, and who knows what this is going to connect us with. The big question.
Can a 50-year-old with average musical skill, a neurodevelopmental disorder, and a neurological disorder figure out how to make a living in super niche music in 2022?
To get things started, we're gonna need two things. Number one, a whole bunch more music. And number two, some kind of a plan. Those plan things that you keep hearing about, we're gonna need one. So we're gonna figure that out in the next one.